All right, we are going to blast through this thing as we are running late, despite getting up at 10 p.m. yesterday. Yes, it's true. It's true. Not everybody can be Batman, but those of us who can be ought to. Looking at the colored magnetogram here, and we are noting the degradation of sunspot 2740 and the quiescence of sunspot 2741. Let's look at another view. This is the last about 7 hours. And here's a 304 angstroms view. Zoom out to see any outer limb filamentary activity. There you go. There's a full screen view. We'll let that play through. Nothing really noteworthy going on. Solar activity pretty low. All right, let's move on here as we're going to blast through this thing faster than you could say cosmology. Let's look at 94 angstroms. And something looks funky with the dates. All right, they're 7.5 hours at 94 angstroms. There's the most recent 7.5 hours, folks. And let's move on to other stuff, such as nextdoor.com, network your neighborhood. Part of your doomsday prepping should be hanging out with your neighbors, figuring out what they have, what they need, etc., as you could help them out in a disaster. So check out nextdoor.com. We are not paid to say this. We're just telling you. Look, Nancy Pelosi agrees. Check it out. She's got a basket on her bike. She is prepped for doomsday. So buy a bike. And since this is probably too much bike for you, head to veloshop.net, click on bikes, and I don't know, you want like a road touring bike? How about the all city space horse disc? Looks pretty sweet. Anyway, please visit the links in the description. Oh my gosh, somebody else donated. Thank you, John Kotowski. Also, check us out on Instagram if you want to see some more behind the scenes stuff. Here's some of yesterday's shenanigans. How's that for a heaping helping of awesome? The pre-dawn graveyard ride. Check it out. Have a pre-dawn ride. It's pretty nice. The water's fine. Apparently my camera doesn't focus either. All right, enough screwing around. We got a lot of stuff to get to yet. Again, visit the links in the description and help support the channel, because YouTube certainly does not do so. We earn zero money on YouTube. If you think it's monetized, it's misrepresentation. We're in the process of starting a nonprofit organization, and we're looking to make your donations tax deductible by the end of the year, depending on what they're for. And wow. Anyway, the mission of the nonprofit is to assist study and report on the ongoing formation of a unified theory of physics, to raise the awareness of the general public of the relationship between space weather and Earth effects, to connect to and consult with media organizations to multiply our reach. So if you can help us out with that, please do. To demonstrate cutting-edge proof of concept solutions to problems, such as growing tomatoes indoors over the wintertime. To publish scientific papers in a multidisciplinary manner, to assist mankind by advancing the study of predictive phenomenon, to not be ossified in our beliefs and to treat those who are with love, respect, and inclusion to the scientific discussion. And we're supposed to be looking at the real-time solar wind right now, but for some reason, we're looking at this. Let's move on to that. This, that, and the other. Geez, oh whiz. The SMASH team is patient enough to allow the solar wind to load. We see an incredibly low solar wind density. Check it out, 0.29 protons per cubic centimeter. Solar wind speed nominal at 330. And we see a flat phi angle. The BT has chilled out a little bit here. It was around 12. It's still pretty high on the BT, and the BZ is at about -2 or something like that, -2.6 or so. So a very low solar wind density, and you'll see that reflected in the magnetometer. 10.7 centimeter radial flux here. I'm not sure if that's right. Let me refresh this one. I think it's gone back up to 78. I think that is correct. So back to above predicted values. Let's move on to spaceweathernews.com and blast through the rest of the stream as if we are in the process of robbing a bank. Since we're not robbing a bank, that would involve us getting paid money to do this. All right, so we see X-ray flux has been in a nominal B range. So from an X-ray perspective, we are seeing much higher solar activity here than we were seeing just weeks and months ago. Magnetometer showing some spikes here, check it out. Also, the KP is back down to 2, so we were all the way up to 5 there. Low-level geomagnetic storm conditions. First thing yesterday, then down to a KP of 4 a couple of times. A huge dip in the electron flux. So we're going to look at cosmic rays in a minute here, so stay tuned for that. And now we see we're actually in very high electron levels, and we did see some warnings in the greater than 2 and greater than 10 mega electron volt warnings. We see some charging hazards here in the southern hemisphere. And the F2 layer is looking massively discharged, especially on the nighttime side, but also on the daytime side, both. Very discharged. Aurora forecasts are looking fairly, they're actually a little heightened here. So there's some oddities going on there. Let's just look at the rest of the data. Let's see what the Enlil spiral's been updated to, if it's been updated. Whoops. There we go. And as you can see, there is a predicted impact. On the 11th. Okay. That's odd. All right. Anyway, that looks like it hasn't been updated there for some reason. And we'll actually look at the X-ray imager here as we've seen this nominal B range flaring. I believe that's coming out of 2741. Or maybe it's coming out of the background, folks. probably coming out of the sun. Well, 2741 is whiter than 2740, so I believe that ongoing B range X-ray flux is 2741. It looks like there is a bit of activity kind of popping out of there, as we did see a coronal mass ejection yesterday. And we'll look at the last go C3 while we're here. If it loads. We are talking about some slow internet connections, folks. And we still have not upgraded the internet service here. Internet service provider, what's going on? Pause that, play that. Here we go. Jeez. It looks like a halo to me, folks. See that halo ejection? So some of that is earthward facing. I would come and check this out later today, and I would look at this Enlil prediction. It's probably going to change. The prediction is for an impact on the 15th and not a major one, so it's nothing to worry about. Let's look at the electron content forecast. As we've seen a bit higher electron flux levels, should be seeing a little higher GPS errors, but not according to the forecast. So keep an eye on the data today, folks. There's some anomalous non-corroborations. Here's the here's a Gong 2 environment, the local magnetic portion of the heliosphere. And again, what's going on, I believe, in the GOES magnetometer is this ongoing. You see this green field here? This field is being pulled back by those sunspots. And so that's what's causing those fluctuations in the GOES magnetometer, I believe. And the location of those sunspots would corroborate my theory. It looks like these areas are, the two sunspots are kind of creating a little weird arm of dense plasma there in the, I guess you'd say the inner corona, I guess would be the best way to explain it. Anyway, that's the Gong 2. The data's 1 hour and 30 minutes old, 38 minutes old. Keep this thing moving. Actually, let's actually look at that here. That's on Solar Ham, I believe. We'll look at the 48-hour GIF of the Lasgo C2, and we should be seeing a halo at the end, right about here. And again, it looks like it'll miss to the northwest. However, we will look at stereo A space weather beacon as we always do. Anyway, welcome to the Milky Way galaxy. If we have any Andromeda galaxy or any M87 galaxy folks out there, please leave a comment. Here's where stuff's located. Here's where stuff will be in a week. And if you need to look at that further, just pause the video. We'll be here when you get back. Next, we're going to head out to stereo A, as we usually do around this time. And this should be the latest data. We did show the coronal mass ejection early yesterday. This one right here, which I'm moving back and forth. Part of that is Earth directed, but most of it does appear to be missing to the northwest. So anyway, that's the state of that. If you don't watch our channel, you wouldn't have seen this while it was occurring yesterday. Because yesterday, it was at this end of the scale, you see? So, stereo it returns a nice 24 hours worth if you put in 100 frames and 20 frames per second. I know that's very small, but we have to, all the sizes are very tightly controlled on this channel, folks. So anyway, view it yourself when you like. Here's a star chart. If you get up before dawn, you should be able to see Saturn and Jupiter on the ecliptic, if the sky is clear enough. Next, we're going to go to Magnetosphere movies, which we would love for them to load before we're old and gray, and we see a very, very weak magnetosphere and a very diffuse plasma environment. So first we'll look at velocity. It's a bit of a proton shortage, folks. It's a proton shortage. Keep in mind, blue is high velocity and red is low velocity. So it's a pretty good scale here. Pretty easy to comprehend this one. The next one, which is the density, is a little bit more counterintuitive. There you have the density. And you're going to see a very low dense solar wind, low density solar wind coming in. And that's how it affects the magnetohydrodynamics, at least according to the University of Michigan geospace model. If you want to know how it works, there are links in the description. Just scroll down to the bottom and go to data sources, and you'll be able to hear all about the Space Weather Prediction Center and so on. Here's the pressure. Super low on the bow shock side, as the Earth is in a discharging mode with all the pressure at the magnetotail. Next, we'll look at ground perturbations. Shout out to all the pole excursion, pole flip, magnetic reversal, whatever you want to call it, type folks, such as Jeff. Shout out Jeff. We're going to have Jeff on very soon. We're not running Skype right now because we're trying to isolate which programs are causing our software anomalies. And they've been isolated as Google Chrome browser, in case you were wondering, as we are 100% Brave browser now. Anyway, there's your polar perturbations, and they are significant. Here are your global perturbations. Again, folks, we only let this play one time. This is a data archiving section. So if you need this data in the future, it will be here on this channel as long as it remains not deleted. We're going to look at cosmic rays. First at apatity. Here's the apatity neutron monitor. A little uptick over the past 24 hours. And here's Barentsburg. Kind of the same deal there. Next, Athens. Athens neutron monitor. Next, we'll go to Moscow. Actually, Mexico City. Then Moscow. Nothing too special going on at Mexico City. Moscow, just a downtick. Oulu, located in Finland. There's that. And here's DOMC Antarctica, looking similar to Moscow. And here's DOMB Antarctica. Links in the description if you want to monitor cosmic rays. We're going to skip Zooniverse to make this one as short as possible, as it is early. So follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/smAsho. And while we're not a fan, we are a client. And while I am smAsho, the smAsho president, I'm also a client. I watch these videos. Yes, I watch my own videos, folks. Also follow us on Twitter to share with your friends who only use Twitter. I don't tweet, so don't tweet at me. I won't respond. smAsho staff runs the account. Also check us out on minds.com/smAsho, the social media that will not throttle you or censor you. You could even post porn if you like. There are all kinds of settings. It's open source. It's great. Check us out on soundcloud.com if you enjoy the music. soundclick.com/Golden Cat Productions. Let's look at earthquakes before we're old and gray. We see a 5.3 in Iraq as the Middle East earthquake swarm continues. Recent uptick in Middle East earthquakes. Shout out. 4.7 in Indonesia. 5.4 in the Kermadec Islands, just north of New Zealand. Let us know, New Zealand viewers, if you felt that one. A 4.3 in Chile, a 4.5 in Indonesia, a 4.4 in Nepal. Not really an earthquake uptick, just a nominal number of earthquakes here, it looks like. Here's a 5.1 in Papua New Guinea, 4.2 in China. As I learned how to read at age 3. I've been trying to forget ever since. Here's a 4.0 in Brookings. Actually 142 kilometers west of Brookings. So, larger quake off the coast of Oregon there. Shout out, Northeast viewers. If you're in the Pacific Northeast. If you're in the Pacific Northwest, holla. Leave a comment. 4.1 off of Argentina. Here's a 4.6 in Indonesia. 4.5 south of Panama. Right on a plate boundary. 4.6 at Fiji. 4.7 at Japan. And a 4.5 at Colombia. So the only deep quake at Fiji. So that's your warning zone right there. I mean, what else can I say? Let's look at pressure maps, as we're wont to do around this time of day. Let's let this thing play out. And we do indeed see a low pressure going the wrong way right here. These things are supposed to travel west to east. So shout out Oceania. It's moving your way, Papua New Guinea. You are in the crosshairs. So solar downtick. In fact, let's go back to the STO real quick and look at the 193 angstroms view to see if there are any coronal holes forming, as that is the ultimate risk factor. As that is the ultimate risk factor. And now there's a serious echo forming because somehow I've hit play. All right, there we go. And we've got a pop-out chat, so let's see if the Smash team welcome smAsho staff and Mr. Mission Control. Cheers. All right. So here's the 193 angstroms view. No coronal holes in sight particularly. Small one up here, pretty far north. And I think that'll be overpowered by those sunspots, magnetically speaking. So anyway, heads up Papua New Guinea. The low pressure systems are moving your way. Next, we're going to go to volcanoes. And I am getting inundated with rain today. It is pouring, and we are looking to get flooded here in eastern Pennsylvania, Lehigh Valley. Volcanoes include Karimsky produces an 8,000-foot plume. Shivaluch, 15,000-foot plume, so a little uptick there. Sakurajima, big uptick there. Explosive activity, 13,000-foot ash plume. Don't fly your ultralight over that. Cinnabung, back on the list. Eruption reported by ground observer. Dukono, 7,000-foot plume. Explosive activity. Sangay, back on the list. In Ecuador and Revenador, sporadic emissions. Little volcanic uptick since yesterday. Next, we'll look at AccuWeather, and it's not going to crash the PC because we don't have Chrome browser running. We're only running Brave. Let us know if you find it to be smoother, better quality, etc. No browsers were harmed in the creation of this video. Anyway, there's the US Doppler radar. We're going to skip the weather section entirely, except for lightning. We're going to encourage our viewers to remain as spaced out as possible. Let's go to the water vapor map. We're going to keep it zoomed out just so folks see what's happening. And there's the current state of affairs in the upper atmosphere. Keep in mind the water vapor map does show you water vapor that's not condensed onto a cloud. And that's the value of it. We do see another powerful low forming there and a heavy convergence line around the Kansas-Nebraska border. And the weather hitting the northeast is going to take its time. And I am currently in the crosshairs of flooding. We'll just ignore that. Here are your weather.gov warnings for your US viewers. Still seeing frost advisories. Check it out. Frost advisories in Wisconsin, Nebraska, Wyoming, Kansas, northeastern Colorado, and more floods around the Mississippi Valley and the Gulf State area, the Gulf State region. Just say no to socialism, folks. Just say no. Also, de oppresso liber, which means from the oppressed, the free. And for you free folks out there, let it be known that the Arctic isn't melted. Here it is. It might refresh, or it could shut down at any time. So take a good look, because there's the thickness. And I would note that in the last year, the scale's been expanded to 5 meters. It's a hot planet. Oh, it's a hot planet. Oh my goodness, what am I looking at here? I have no freaking idea what this is. Oh, the US debt clock. Oh yes, the US debt clock. Just say no to socialism, folks. Just say no. All right, technical difficulties averted. Check out the new studio. I wasn't ready to unveil it yet, and I'm in a bathrobe. So let's turn that back off. Go back to screen share. By the way, it didn't crash entirely, I guess. How do you like them apples? And that's what you get when you don't run Google Chrome. Let's just look at the intensity gram here and close this thing out. Enjoy your Sunday, folks. The sunspots are degrading. The chance of large solar flares is dipping. Here's the last 7 hours and 45 minutes. Say farewell to sunspot 2740. It looks like it's going to break down entirely. And if you're going to keep an eye on anything, keep an eye on 2741. It's still emitting some X-rays. Thanks again, donors, etc. Let me reload the chat here as everything crashed, but didn't break down entirely. Don't tell me about memory. I'll tell you about memory. All right, anyway, we are out of here. Thanks again. May the solar wind be at your back and the atherosclerosis absent from your veins.